How's it going, Laser Bruces? I'm Bobby Sixkilla and welcome back to Root Double. We are escaping our house with Mashido and Saliu because the what are they called? The local security people, whatever they're called, the city police force. They're not the police though. You know what? I don't even know. Anyway, the police people are here to fuck us up because Saliu kicked the ass of a security guard at the research facility, so we're escaping. I still think this is a bad move. Honestly, I think we should just all stay put until it all blows over. But at the moment, we're all escaping, except Yuri, of course, who doesn't leave the house. She's staying here. Everyone else is going. And we're escaping out the window right now. Once they shut the window, Yuri gave them a word of parting. Be careful, guys. Natsuhiko nodded as the three of them left. The sound of the TV that was left on leaked through the room and eventually faded into the distance. See, this is bad. For now, let's go to my house. We need to secure a hiding place. In accordance with that suggestion, the three of them headed to Mashido's house. The Tobo residence was quite nearby, no more than 3 minutes if you ran. But once they got close... Huh? Hold on, guys. Natsuhiko and Sally stopped at Mashido's command. They're going to be there too, right? What's wrong, Mashido? There's somebody by the entranceway. And true enough, they looked to see silhouettes standing in front of the Tobo residence. Mashido's mother was talking to two men. Who's she talking to? They hid themselves and strained their ears on the conversation between Mashido's mother and the two men. Your daughter snuck into the parapsychology research center and injured a security guard. The three kids gasped at the conversation. The security department. The security department had apparently already gotten there. Mashido's mother spoke up in surprise. No, not my daughter. There has to be some sort of mistake. I'm sorry, ma'am, but she was caught by a surveillance camera. There's no doubt about it. Is it alright if we wait here for your daughter to return? Not at all. Besides, look at the time. I must ask you two to please leave. This is bad, they're pressing you. It's partly true. So it's in some ways unavoidable. I'm sorry, Mashido, it's all my fault. It's okay, Sally. I'll explain the situation to Mum with telepathy. And with that, Mashido placed a finger to her temple. Using telepathy on a blood relative was probably easy enough for her. And she was probably successful in contacting her, but right after that, Mashido's mother shouted, Mashido, is that you, Mashido? The security department members snapped back and looked around. Where is she? The security department members' voices echoed. There was no time to hesitate. Let's get out of here. Things are going to get problematic. Right. Mashido nodded and dashed off. But as she ran, she yelled, Mum, believe in me, I did nothing wrong. Mashido's voice resounded in the dark residential area. The kids avoided the security department and ran with a reckless abandon. But no matter where they ran, the shadows of people who seemed like security department members appeared. There they are after them. Each time they heard that, they turned back and rushed through a back street. Damn it, how could they manage to find us no matter where we go? See, we should have just stayed home, I said that. Natsuhiko, it's those things. Huh? Natsuhiko snapped toward where she was pointing to find a security camera. Well, duh, they're everywhere. Damn it. The security department had the authority to use the security cameras. The camera footage was likely being sent to the municipal office server where they could inspect it in real time. They could check it on PDAs or something to follow the kids' tracks. What do we do? They're gonna catch us. Calm down, let's escape to a place without any cameras. Is there such a place? The kids ran desperately, avoiding human presence, avoiding cameras. And in all the confusion, they ended up in Rokume Park. Think we'll be safe here? No. Sally pointed to the woods as she said that. And hidden in the grove of trees was indeed another security camera. Not here too. Damn it, is there no escape? The devices ordinarily used to maintain public order were now being used to track the kids down. Q. Alice squeaked as if to speak for their anxiety. The security department is sure to show up here too. Let's run. Right. Right as they're about to run, Sally took control of the situation. Wait, you two. Huh? The security department's going to look at that camera footage and chase us down, right? Yeah? Then let's think about the other way around. They won't search places where the cameras don't see us. Yeah, and? I'll manipulate the camera. Come with me, you two. And with that, Sally entered the security camera's blind spot and rushed over to it. And then she poked Alice around her neck, which caused some sort of cable to wind out of her. What's that? Alice isn't just a facial recognition expression recognition device, she's also a multi-function mobile PC. Sully opened a panel on Alice's back, revealing an LCD display. She's a computer? Yes, and this screen is a touch panel. She possesses all essential functions, including communication, audio-visual recording, and data I/O. She also accepts voice commands. Furthermore, Dr. Tenkawa pre-installed various sorts of software, so it should be no trouble at all to manipulate the camera footage using some of that software. And with that, Sully began to tamper with the security camera. She skillfully removed the cover on the security camera, took out the terminal port and connected it to Alice's cable. Alice, start command. Capture 10 seconds of footage from the input pin and loop it to the output pin. In command. Cue. Natsuhiko and Mashido looked blankly as Alice answered reliably. Miss Sully, what might you be doing? I connected the security camera's output terminal to Alice and captured footage from the camera. So now Alice has stored security footage that we don't show up in. So now by connecting Alice to the input terminal and looping the footage, I see, so basically we won't show up on this camera anymore, huh? Sully nodded at Natsuhiko's words. Yes, so now even if the security department checks the camera feed, they shouldn't expect anyone to be in the park. Though we were caught on camera here once, so it's not a foolproof plan. Still, it's quite safer than any other place. That's amazing, Sully. I didn't even know you could do something like that. It's not anything that praiseworthy. So let's stand by in this park until some of the heat dies down. Yeah, I mean, I am a little tired. Let's take a short break then, I guess. And with that, the kids sat down in the grass. When they looked at the sky, the rain had stopped before they'd realized it. A nearly full moon shone brightly in the sky. Gazing upward toward the moon, Mashido whispered, Really, to think that things would turn out this way. I didn't expect it either. The security department basically seems like a police force, and they act quick. Yeah. Around this time, he would have been taking a bath or talking with Yuri about books. This wasn't exactly a change Natsuhiko had been hoping for. But for some reason, this time Natsuhiko didn't feel at all bothered or bitter about it. Why's that? What's gotten into me? He couldn't understand why. Mashido just chuckled beside him. Hey, what's wrong, Mashido? Is there something funny about the moon? No, I just felt kind of nostalgic, that's all. Nostalgic? Say, Natsuhiko, do you remember? Something like this happened in the past, right? Us getting chased around the city at night, I mean? You mean the serious escape plan? It reminded Natsuhiko, as in the dog, it did indeed happen. What's that? It's just something that happened long ago. Natsuhiko recounted his memory of the past to Sully. It was about 10 years ago. We decided to keep a dog at this park, just us kids. A dog? Yeah, he was a cute dog we named Sirius. Cuter than Alice? Well, probably about the same, I guess. Natsuhiko smiled wryly before continuing. To us, Sirius was our dog, but to the world he was a stray. So one day, the healthcare centre conducted a stray dog hunt, and we were worried we would get caught up in it. So what happened? Well, Mashido and I talked about what to do with poor Sirius, and we hatched a plan to save him. A plan? As she asked that question, Natsuhiko's heart relived the memory of that night. When Natsuhiko and Mashido heard about the rumoured stray dog hunt from Yuri, they rushed to find a way to save Sirius. But they couldn't find anyone who would adopt him, and 2 days passed. Guess none of our friends' houses are winners, huh? That's because too many of them live in apartments and stuff. What do we do? Natsuhiko and Mashido hung their heads. There's nowhere in this town for Sirius to stay. The evil healthcare centre would likely get their sinister hands on Sirius eventually. But time was ticking away, and they had yet to find a suitable owner for him. If we don't do something, Sirius will really be killed. Natsuhiko held back his panicking hard as he thought long and hard about what to do. Eventually, a certain idea flashed in Natsuhiko's head. No, wait, there's still something we can do. We just need to get Sirius out of the city. Huh? But there's a fence all around the city, you know? Rokume City was surrounded by a perimeter fence in order to increase public safety. Yeah, that's what they say. No man or dog could slip past the barricade, but if we don't do anything, then Sirius is going to die. So do we have any other option but to get him out of the city? But we'll get caught if we leave the city on our own, won't we? Dad told me so himself. If you try to leave town, you get locked up in jail. Jail? Natsuhiko flinched at the sound of that word, but still... What are you talking about, Mashido? Who cares if we get caught? Huh? If we don't do anything, who's going to save Sirius? Don't wait for someone else to protect what you hold dear. Protect it with your own hands. That wasn't a quote for anything, but words straight from Natsuhiko's heart. That said, It was words cut and pasted from lines of various anime and such that Natsuhiko had watched, but it got through to Mashido regardless. You're right, you're so right. Mashido took Natsuhiko by the hand as she spoke. Let's set him free, Natsuhiko. Let's save Sirius with our own hands. Looks like you finally understand, Mashido. Yeah, but how do we do it? I've got it all planned out. We use the city gate. There's no fence there. But Okume City's outer circumference was surrounded by a fence, but naturally, there were entrances and exits. The city had 6 such gates. That sounds good, but they got lookouts, don't they? But there aren't lookouts at nighttime, right? So we go at night, slip past the gate and free Sirius. Oh yeah, I think that sounds good. Okay then, let's do that. Mashido and Natsuhiko gripped each other's hands tight. Mashido, we might be rivals, but for now, let's call a truce. If we join forces, I know we can save Sirius for sure. Yeah. Bow. Their brave voices echoed in the afternoon park. That night, near the White Tiger Gate, one of the city gates, 3 fidgety shadows approached. They were Natsuhiko, Mashido, and Sirius. They had hidden Sirius at home for the rest of the afternoon before slipping out, this far from home. We've come prepared. There was a note tied to Sirius's neck. The note was written on a piece of wood and strung around his neck. It said, I am a smart dog. My name is Sirius. Please adopt me. And below that it had the Tenkawa household phone number. So now it'd be perfect if someone finds him outside the town. Yeah. Natsuhiko was unsure what the possibility was that he'd find a good owner, but he was willing to bet on it. Better than getting murdered, isn't it? Natsuhiko leaned down and made eye contact with Sirius. Listen up, Sirius. The gate's shut, but I'm sure you can still slip through it. After that, just run as far as you can. If you can do that, I'm sure you'll find a good owner who'll take care of you. Understand? Woof. Sirius let out a small whine, perhaps because Natsuhiko was whispering. He really was a smart dog. Suddenly, Natsuhiko felt reluctant to set him free. But I need to set him free if I want him to live. As Natsuhiko pondered that thought, Mashido shrieked. Wait, Natsuhiko, there's somebody in front of the gate. What? Natsuhiko looked, and sure enough, there was what appeared to be a station box by the gate. A large man was inside, giving a sharp look about his surroundings. They have a lookout even at night. Natsuhiko racked his brain, and after some frantic thinking, he came up with a do-or-die last-ditch effort. Sirius, I'm gonna go distract that man. You take the opening and run for it. Well? No, Natsuhiko, you can't. They're gonna catch you, you know? I don't care. I don't care if I get put in jail, if that's what it takes to keep Sirius alive. Mashido twitched at Natsuhiko's declaration, but she soon responded with a meek look on her face. You're right. Then I'll help you distract him. Huh? You sure? It's too dangerous for a girl. I can't let you be the only one who gets to show off. Natsuhiko smirked at those words. He expected nothing less from his biggest rival, though he had the feeling that if they were friends, she'd be quite a reliable ally. Okay, then let's go. Run for it, Sirius. And with that yell, Natsuhiko struck Sirius on his back. The dog didn't move. He just looked at Natsuhiko's face and let out a sad whine. That voice wrenched Natsuhiko's heart. You don't want to leave us? I see, I don't want to leave you either. But you need to go if you want to live. Sirius probably didn't understand Natsuhiko's words, but he seemed to understand his intention. Eventually, Sirius looked toward the gate. That's good, Sirius. Natsuhiko struck Sirius on the back once more, so that his feelings wouldn't sway again. Bow! And with that yelp, the 3 shadows broke into a run. Natsuhiko and Mashido went up to the station box and started yelling. Hey, you stupid old man! Who cares about this dumb old gate? This hunk of junk should just disappear. What was that? A sudden disparagement from children caused the security guard in the station to jump up. He leapt out of the box and started yelling at the kids. Hey, what do you snot-nosed brats think you're doing in the middle of the night? He looked terribly enraged, but Natsuhiko shouted out, undaunted. We're not snot-nosed brats, we're heroes. The hell are you saying, kid? At that moment, the security guard's attention was focused completely on the kids. Now's your chance, Sirius, Mashido yelled, and at the same time, a small shadow leapt out from behind them. The shadow slipped past the security gate and headed for the gate. Hold it right there, you mangy mutt. By the time the security guard reacted, it was too late. Sirius had already slipped through the gate and dashed into the tunnel leading outside the city. The small shadow melted into darkness of night. You're so fast, Sirius. At that speed, he'll probably get away even if the security guard chased him. And with that thought in mind, Natsuhiko watched Sirius off, though he was already out of sight. Goodbye. Natsuhiko bid farewell to his friend of only a short while. Okay, Mashido, draw back. Roger. The security guard yelled something or other from behind, but they ran away without a second thought. They kept running with serious looks on their faces. Eventually, Mashido let out an odd voice. Hey, what's so funny? Quit laughing and run. But it's just so funny. Huh? For a second, he had no idea what she was talking about. But now that she mentioned it, the joy of a successful mission, the excitement, and every other emotion mixed together. Certainly was worth a laugh. See, it is kind of funny, isn't it? Their laughter echoed through the night streets. A beautiful full moon looked down upon the children as it shined in the sky. As he recalled that event, Natsuhiko realized what Mashido had said last night was what he had once said himself. Protect what you hold dear with your own hands, huh? When Mashido said that yesterday, she was referencing what happened back then, huh? As Natsuhiko made that realization, Mashido spoke. Yeah, it was on a night with a full moon, just like this, huh? We slipped out of our houses at night. Natsuhiko and I made an escape route for Sirius to get out of the city. What happened to Sirius after that? Was he able to escape? After a little while, we got a phone call from someone living in the next city. It was a nice lady who said she was keeping Sirius at her house. After hearing the story, Sully spoke up honestly. Remarkable. You two saved a life. I know, right? Mashido smiled triumphantly. Natsuhiko looked back fondly on that moment as well. But all the adults probably got mad at us afterwards. We ran away since we didn't want to get yelled at. We ran all the way around town that night, huh? So tonight's kind of like what happened then. After hearing the story, Sully looked up at the moon and whispered, That sounds like a very good memory. Yeah, I think so too. Natsuhiko worked earnestly back then for the righteous cause of saving Sirius. He didn't stop to think too hard about the details. He just tackled the danger with reckless abandon, and he succeeded. So I'll just do that again this time. With that thought in mind, Natsuhiko spoke to Mashido, who was sitting beside him. Hey Mashido. Huh? Today was tough, huh? The security department's tracking us down, and so we can't even go home. Yeah. But now that things have escalated this far, we need to resolve to not go home until we put an end to this, okay? Mashido's eyes widened at those words. An end to this? You mean until we prevent the terrorist plot ourselves? I don't know what exactly we can do, but it's better to try than to do nothing. Natsuhiko. Mashido's eyes sparkled as she took Natsuhiko by the hand. It took you long enough, but now you've got the spirit. I'm so happy. Ah, well, I'm just saying there's a matter of resolve. Since you're girls, I'm just thinking you'd need a change of clothes or a bath or something. No, considering the situation, that's no matter at all. Mashido jumped for joy. But Sully, on the other hand, just had a critical look on her face. You know, she's the logical one. Natsuhiko, I thought I told you I don't recommend putting yourself in danger. I'm sorry, Sully. Sully glared at Natsuhiko for a while, before eventually muttering in resignation. Looks like I have no other choice. I'll help you two to the best of my ability. Huh? You too, Sully? Okay, if all three of us give it our best, there's nothing to be scared of. Natsuhiko looked at Mashido and shrugged. Nothing to be scared of. Honestly? Even if the three of them did run into terrorists, the terrorists seemed more likely to overpower them than anything. That's exactly why the three of them had to pull themselves together if they wanted to accomplish anything. Well, now that's settled, what should we do next? Good question. It is getting kinda late. First we need to secure a place we can stay the night. Sully spoke as she disconnected Alice from the surveillance camera. She put away the cable and display into Alice's back, returning her to a more stuffed animal shape as she continued. It could start raining again. That would be a nuisance. That's true, so for now let's head into the city. We need to be careful not to get caught by the bad guys. Natsuhiko led the two girls. And later they ended up in the heart of the city. They somehow made it while taking meticulous care not to be caught by the security department or the surveillance cameras. Where can we stay the night? How about a manga cafe or something? Where would we find a manga cafe at this hour? They're heavily regulated. But we don't have much money. Natsuhiko, how about that? Natsuhiko traced Mashido's glance. A karaoke box, huh? She was looking at a karaoke box that primarily served Rokume Academy students. The reception desk was so lenient they allowed students to go there at night, no questions asked. There was a surveillance camera at the entrance, but there were so many dead spots that it seemed easy enough to enter without being caught on film. And of course there were no surveillance cameras inside, which made it a calming place for the students to let loose from the stress of living in such an uptight town. Looks like they're open 24 hours. Perfect, right? Then let's hurry up and get in. There's no point if we linger long enough for them to spot our entrance. As Natsuhiko started walking up to the door, Sully tugged on her sleeve. Hold on, what's a karaoke box? Huh? Sully, you don't know what a karaoke box is? Never heard of them. What kind of facility is it? Well, I guess it's a facility for singing songs. Songs? Sully stared blankly. Natsuhiko heard there were karaoke boxes in France, but Sully apparently had no knowledge of them at all. Well, I guess this is as good a learning opportunity as ever. Natsuhiko and Mashido took Sully into the store. They easily got through the reception desk. They were handed microphones and a remote as they made their way to their room. Natsuhiko hadn't personally been to the store, but he had heard rumours that their policy was lax. The room was of an old-fashioned style that had been in use for over 20 years. But it was safe, and that was all that mattered. After one final check to make sure there was no surveillance cameras, the kids stretched wide. Looks exactly like the ones from fucking Yakuza. Oh, good grief, I feel like a fugitive. You okay, Sully? Not tired? As Mashido asked her question, Sully looked restlessly around the room. Natsuhiko, how do you sing here? Huh? Sully, you mean you want to sing? Yes, quite interested. I'm not quite sure this is the most appropriate occasion to sing, though. You're singing it'd be better for them to sleep and let their bodies rest. Well, why not, Natsuhiko? I'm sure Sully's got some pent-up stress and anxiety from all that's happened today. You're too soft on her, Mashido. But Mashido had a point. Natsuhiko reconsidered and spoke again. Okay, Sully. First you choose which song you want to sing, using this remote. Remote? This thing? Yes, if you press that button, the song list comes up, see? Like this? Under Mashido's guidance, Sully used the remote to bring up a list of songs. Mashido's helpful, even at times like this, huh? Even though she must have been worried, she still took care of Sully. Natsuhiko spoke with Mashido in the time before the song began. Mashido, you're kinda like Sully's older sister. You're right, I'm happy to have gotten a new little sister too. I don't have any real siblings, so I've always dreamed of having one. In any case, it was a pleasant sight for Natsuhiko to see those two get along. And after a short while, the three of them sang songs in turn, until they lost track of the time and felt satisfied. Along the way, Sully became quite possessive of the microphone. Sully, can I sing next? Even when Mashido asked nicely, Sully flat out rejected her. No, 5 more songs. No way. Why not, Mashido? You're the older sister here, so let it slide. Yeah, but I know, let's do a duet. They had small quibbles like that as they sang, but they smiled together. It certainly may not have been the best time to sing, and perhaps they were merely running away from the harsh reality outside, but it was an unmistakable truth that the three of them enjoyed this time they had together. And after the three singers had exhausted their repertoire, Mashido started dozing off as she sat next to Natsuhiko. Sully stopped singing and spoke up. Is Mashido asleep? Yeah, I guess she tired herself out. Did I make you push yourself too hard so she could sing with me? No, that's not it at all. I think she enjoyed herself too. And Mashido was probably able to forget her anxiety too. It's nothing to worry about. I had fun too, after all. I see. That's good. It was a good experience for me too. I'm grateful to you two. I never knew it was this fun to sing so enthusiastically. Something suddenly struck Natsuhiko as he heard those words. Maybe what Sully enjoyed wasn't the new experience of karaoke, but the new experience of singing out loud. Come to think of it, he knew almost nothing about her past. Say, Sully, what is it? What was your life like back in France? Sully fell silent at the question. No, you don't have to answer if you don't want to. I was just kind of curious. No, it's not that I don't want to talk about it. I'll talk if you want. It's just that it's not all that interesting. And with that self-derisive statement, Sully quietly began to speak. I was born in a large estate in the countryside of France. I was raised there, inside there, almost like a bird in a cage. So you really were a high-class girl. I'm not entirely sure what that means, but perhaps. Both of my parents administrate nuclear power-related businesses in France, apparently. I lived a life devoid of any inconvenience. I was surrounded by private tutors and received training in all sorts of fields. All sorts of fields? Studies centered in science, as well as 15 foreign languages including English, Japanese and Chinese. Engineering skills, fine arts including piano and painting, as well as gymnastics and martial arts. Natsuhiko was shocked. He did think she was an extraordinarily gifted girl. He didn't expect it to that degree. I soaked up that knowledge like water into dry sand. The pursuit of knowledge and the mastering of skills were the proof of my existence. My memories consist of nothing else. You didn't play outside? With neighbouring friends or anything? That basically never happened. My parents were quite strict. and so I always stayed at home. I hardly ever felt the need to go outside myself. I see. Natsuhiko felt that her upbringing was completely different than theirs. When Natsuhiko was still playing outside, Sally was already taking advanced private classes at home. Sally's peculiarities and abilities were probably derived from her upbringing, but he thought that parents who kept their daughter locked away at all times couldn't be very decent parents at all. It might not be an easy topic to talk about. He didn't know if there were complicated circumstances or if it had something to do with Sully's health, but even so, Natsuhiko asked more questions. But you seem to be able to go outside now. So did your parents change their minds? That's not the case at all. Dr. Tenkawa took me away from there. Huh? Why would Mum do that? How did she even know your parents to begin with? I mean, I did hear they're distant relatives, but still. When the professor was young, she lived in France for a period of time. Afterwards, she stayed in contact with my parents, and that's how she learned about me, apparently. The professor said she wanted to give me freedom. Mum said that, huh? It was hard to believe that so suddenly, but Sully didn't seem to be lying at all. The professor persuaded my parents to let me study abroad in Japan. That's all I've heard from her. So that's why you suddenly transferred at such an odd time. But why was it decided you live at our place? One reason was because I had no other place to live. Another reason was because the professor wanted me to protect you. I've already said this before, but it's because Orokume City's public order has recently gotten worse. Public order, huh? Well, that's true. When she told him a few days ago, he didn't quite understand what she'd meant. But today, what she said felt all too real. Protect me, huh? Apparently Sully's training back in France gave her the physical ability and the martial arts skills necessary to lead that security guard by the nose today. Natsuhiko didn't know exactly how much faith his mother had in Sully, but it's too shameful to have to rely on someone else for protection all the time. Hey Sully, you threw that security guard today, didn't you? Do you think I can learn to do that too? You? Well, I mean, the situation's gotten tense. I want to be able to defend myself too. Dabbling just a bit in martial arts won't help much, but there are techniques that even amateurs can use. Then please teach me those. Roger. In that case, grab me by the nape of the neck. Okay, like this. Natsuhiko gently reached out for the nape of Sully's neck. In the very next moment, Sully grabbed his hand. If someone tries to grab you by the neck, first you grab back at their wrist. Then you twist that wrist by wrapping around behind them. And pull down forcefully. And with an energetic shout from Sully, Natsuhiko's world turned upside down. Natsuhiko groaned as a shock ran through his back. It was an odd sensation. Sully didn't seem to exert that much strength, yet she quickly threw him off his feet. You okay? Yeah, Sully explained as Natsuhiko slowly got up. That was Shihonage, or four-direction throw, an Aikido technique that exploits human reflexes. You're pulling the opponent's elbow backward, so when they instinctively try to escape from the pain, they end up contributing to getting themselves thrown down. I see. When the opponent grabs at the nape of the neck, even an amateur can do it. But don't forget, the most important thing in the art of self-defense is to get away. To get away? Yes, Japan has this proverb, doesn't it? A splattering of knowledge can be a dangerous thing. You mean a smattering of knowledge? What's a splattering of knowledge? It sounds kind of scary. Japanese is hard. So even you can make mistakes like that, huh? It's kind of a relief. Shut up, Natsuhiko. Anyway, I'm the one who'll protect you. You should fight strictly as a last resort. Understood. If something happens, I'll count on you first. Natsuhiko nodded positively to Sully's suggestion. It was a pity to have to rely on someone else for protection all the time, but what Sully said was justified. Thanks for telling me how to do that technique. If only I could do something for you in return. In that case, there's something I want you to tell me. I just told you about my past, so I want to hear something about you. Huh? What about me? Anything. Like your family, maybe? Your mother is Dr. Tenkawa, but where is your father? Ah, she hasn't told you? Well, a long time ago, Dad became a star. A star? She didn't seem to understand the euphemism, so Natsuhiko spoke up front this time. That means he died. Huh? He was 32 years old. He was young, but he suffered from cancer. I was 5 at the time, so it's already been over 10 years. I'm sorry. Oh, no, you don't have to worry about it. It's long in the past, so I'm not sad about it at all anymore. Slight silence spread through the room. After making sure that Alice hadn't made any sounds, Sully sighed in relief and spoke. What kind of person was your father? Well, I don't really remember. He was apparently a communicator like me. Your father? It was apparently a rank B aptitude, level 4 communicator, which was rare for someone born before the Grand Communicator discovery. Once Natsuhiko finished recounting the second-hand information from his mother, Sully spoke in agreement. So you must have inherited your high aptitude from your father. I'm fairly sure the Professor's aptitude is only rank F after all. I wonder about that. Well, it is true that Mum doesn't have the aptitude though. What do you mean? You have rank S aptitude. So it's only natural to think that it's due to your father's genetics. Well, about that, Sully. Natsuhiko lowered his voice to a whisper. Actually, my aptitude wasn't always rank S. Huh? When they tested my aptitude before I started school, it was rank C. But when they measured me again in elementary school, it had risen to rank S. Sully's eyes widened at the revelation. Hold on, what is the meaning of that? Your aptitude is supposed to be determined at birth and stay the same for the rest of your life. That's what makes the whole thing a mystery. The doctor who measured me was horribly confused too. There was a commotion of how it was such a rare case, but in the end they decided that the rank C reading from before I started elementary school was a measurement error, and that my correct aptitude was rank S. That was a truth that next to nobody knew. According to the Rokume Academy student database, Natsuhiko by nature had rank S aptitude. The data from his time with the rank C aptitude has been erased. Does that even happen? Well, it stayed rank S no matter how many years have passed, so that probably is the correct reading. I guess that's really all that's worth special mention. I've lived a fairly ordinary life aside from that. I see. Natsuhiko suddenly realized how slowly Sully's reaction had been. I'm sorry, was that a boring story? No, not at all. Actually, I've just been terribly exhausted for a while now. Huh? Really? I've been trying so hard to stay awake so I could listen to your story, but I'm at my limit. No, it's okay. We can talk about it another time. Okay then, I'll go to sleep. And then as if Salyu's soundboard had run out of batteries, her voice faded into the distance. If you're gonna sleep, why don't you sleep on my lap? Thanks, I don't mind if I do. Sully collapsed onto Natsuhiko's lap and shut her eyes. Huh? Sully dozed off before he could pull a just kidding. It was just supposed to be a light-hearted joke, but okay. As he spoke, Natsuhiko remembered Sully's condition. Since she was unable to understand other people's feelings, and perhaps she couldn't catch jokes either, it'd probably be a jerk move on my part to tease her even as a joke. In short, he decided it would probably be best to always speak the earnest truth when talking to Sully. Natsuhiko secretly hid those thoughts as he gazed upon her sleeping face. He considered heading off to sleep himself, but then Natsuhiko suddenly got worried about Yuri. I hope she's okay. Hopefully the security department people they escaped from didn't force their way into the Tenkawa residence and interrogate Yuri. Natsuhiko got more and more worried, and Yuri would probably get worried too if they didn't come back until the next day. I'll go call her. Perhaps it was a mistake to leave their PDAs behind. Natsuhiko quietly left the room, trying his best not to make a sound. As he left the building, Natsuhiko looked around at the nighttime streets. Is there a payphone anywhere? There was hardly any of the sort nowadays, but luckily Natsuhiko managed to find a telephone box close to the store. He rushed inside, wary of the security department and surveillance cameras. He picked up the receiver and dialed his home number. The dial tone rang. However, Yuri did not answer. No, don't tell me the security department took her away. Such an experience would certainly trigger a panic attack, and she'd cry so hard she'd lose sight of herself. The longer the dial tone rang, the faster Natsuhiko's anxiety spread. Please pick up, Yuri. Just as Natsuhiko made that silent prayer, the phone finally connected. Hello? Yuri? Hikiden, are you okay over there? The security department hasn't tried to get inside, have they? No, nothing's happened, no need to worry. Natsuhiko felt relieved to hear Yuri's relaxed voice. More importantly, are you guys okay after what happened? Yeah, no problem here. None of us have been caught yet or anything. Where are you guys now? Natsuhiko was about to say the karaoke box in the shopping district, but he stopped himself. He was afraid the phones could be wiretapped. The security department probably wasn't being that thorough, but it was better to be safe than sorry. Somewhere in the city. I say, as if Yuri had sensed Natsuhiko's misgivings, she pried no further. Well, there's no need to worry about us, but it doesn't look like we'll be able to come home today. I'm thinking of camping out somewhere, like the park, with Mashido and Salyu. That was a lie, a small diversion on the off chance the phone actually was tapped. Camping out in the park? Will the girls be okay? Oh, Mashido's a pretty hardy fellow, you know, and despite her looks, Salyu's actually quite a wild girl. Huh? Well, I'm saying you don't need to worry. It should be fine to sleep outside at night every now and then. Maybe you're right. Yuri suddenly whispered in a quiet voice. This sure brings me back, Hikinen. Something like this happened a long time ago too, didn't it? Huh? Remember? The time we ran away from home? Yudi's question jogged Natsuhiko's memory. The conclusion to their running away from home experience. Yeah, I remember. Natsuhiko felt the visions of a long day past rise up once more from the bottom of his heart. But before we're going to do that, we're going to wrap this episode up, and we will go through the memory next time so that we can see more. We're getting a lot of background. I feel like this most of this route is background information about all the characters. I mean, we haven't even had a watch jump back into reality or into what he called reality in ages. Like, we've been in this slice of life mode for a while now, so I imagine this isn't going to last, but I guess we'll see. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking it out for me, and I'll see you in the next one.